Back to the Here's the Deal channel. Here's the deal. The last three words you hear before the fire of tyranny pummels you and your life and your loved ones. I want to make a couple of announcements here before we get started. On Monday, this coming up Monday, March 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific, Auditing Erie County will be hosting a live conversation, not debate, conversation between Long Island Audit, Sean Paul Reyes, and myself. And the topic is going to be based on this video right here. The gentleman you see right there with the uniform on is Captain George Raposo from the police department in New Jersey. And he seems to be speaking a lot of correct things, a lot of right things, a lot of constitutional things with regard to the First Amendment. And I question that and I criticize that because I wonder, okay, so if he's upholding one of the elements of the First Amendment and he's saying that, you know, we need to be constitutional around here because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, is he also upholding the Second Amendment in New Jersey? We know by his own police department's website he is not. So I have a criticism about that. And I wonder, should we be letting our guard down and giving people a chance when they're actually acting like members of the Nazi Party? And that was one of the things that Sean has a problem with, is me calling the American Thin Blue Line Police Department and police departments across this country and equating them with Nazism or the Gestapo. The next one was the springboard for this conversation for Monday, March 11th, will be my response to Long Island Audits, a couple of Long Island Audits posts while I was doing the live stream talking about Captain George Raposo. And also, I wanted to direct your attention to my community tab. I talked to Dan from Erie County today, and he said that Sean Paul Reyes from Long Island Audit was trying to post this message right here underneath one of my videos, and it kept disappearing. That's pretty much par for the course for the ScrewTube platform. It happens to me a lot, even with my own pinned comments on my own channel. Just want to reiterate for people, I have never, since I've been on the internet, censored anybody. I don't care how horrific and horrendous what they said was. I think sunlight is the best disinfectant. So these messages aren't disappearing because of me. It's because of the YouTube algorithm. For some reason, they've determined and decided that they're going to create algorithms that make comments disappear. I don't know. So I would like you to take a look at this message from Sean Paul Reyes. It'll get you real quick on the page that we all pretty much should be on before you watch the live stream on Auditing Erie County. Dan tells me that on Sunday night or Monday, he's going to set up the link so that we can all share it on our platform. Sean will share it on his, Dan will share it on his, and I'll share it on mine, letting you know, giving you the alert, you know, and the link so that you can go straight to it whenever that time comes. But I think this is I know this is a very serious conversation, because if we're going to look at American policing and American police departments and the agents that work for the American police departments, we need to be able to call a spade a spade. Truth fears no scrutiny. Truth is the new hate speech, and truth is treason in the empire of lies. And you can find out real quick when you start speaking the truth. And I'm not talking about speaking the truth rudely. If the shoe fits, wear it. If a person is acting like a member of the Nazi SS from back in the 1930s Germany, one of the Gestapo members, then, you know, you got to call a spade a spade. You can't sweeten it. You can't minimize it. To make truth moderate is to lie. So that's my viewpoint of it. And we're going to look at two examples of Gestapo-like actions right here on American soil, because we're going to go over two videos. One's going to come from AFA, from Josh from the AFA channel, Accountability for All, and the other one is going to be from James Freeman. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this. This guy that you see being held at taser point is a guy named James, and the cops are investigating. The cops are initially there investigating a fire at an apartment, which turns out to be somebody grilling out, and so they just leave. But then they find out you know, they look at this guy and they target him. But I wanted to go over this, and I wanted to go over James' video for 2 very important reasons, and that will become painfully clear as we go along. So let's go ahead and get into this. Just let me recap, just in case you guys are starting, you know, just coming in here. There is a live stream scheduled, a live conversation between me and Long Island Audit about is the Thin Blue Line gang, the American Thin Blue Line gang, synonymous with the Gestapo, or HI, you know, the guy with the funny mustaches, SS. And that's going to be Monday, March 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. And Auditing Erie County will be hosting that on his channel. And as we get closer to that, Dan from Auditing Erie County is going to give us the link. So let's go ahead and get into this right now. Brett Rhea just gifted 10 Here's the Deal memberships. I really appreciate that, Brett. What's up, John Eagle, John Abernathy, 308, JT Soup. Thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and get into this.
No, put the bike down. Put the bike down.
Why? It's my bike.
Because I told you to put the bike down.
Why are you stopping me right now?
Because you're riding your bike with no light on.
I'm riding it. I got
put the bike down.
Light right here.
Dude, put the bike
right
down.
Here. I said no.
Put the bike down, James.
Supervisor.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around. Put your hands behind your back. I'm tase you, dude.
What have I
Get
done
on the
wrong?
ground, James.
What have I done wrong? I've not done nothing wrong.
Get on the ground, James.
I've done nothing wrong. Am I being detained?
Get on the ground, James.
Detained. Help.
Get on the ground, James. You are being detained, you fucking idiot. Get on the ground.
Let me just point out something ridiculously obvious. This is obviously the teaser part of this video, and we'll get into the meat of it here in a second. We'll get the background so everybody will be clear on what's going on. But can you imagine you as an adult speaking to another adult that you don't really know, like this cop is speaking to this person? And this is a profession. This is the law enforcement profession. So you got this cop who knows he has a body cam, who knows he's recording all of his actions, and he's going to continue. He can't stop himself. He has to treat this person like this because that's his character. That's who he is. He can't stop it. He can't turn it off.
On the ground.
I'm a fucking tase you, dude. Get on the ground.
This harassment's gonna stop.
Shut up.
Call your supervisor. I want you to call your supervisor.
I am the supervisor, dip. Shut
First
up.
Amendment audit. I know this. I'm being detained for no reason. I want to talk to your supervisor. I want to see your supervisor.
What supervisor, James? You think we're at your fucking beck and call, you dip?
Yes. I want to see your supervisor.
I just fucking told you,
No.
dumbass.
Private property.
Okay, you're going to jail. Yep, you're going to fucking jail,
For
dude.
what?
What's that for arguing?
And I mean, that's your RAS to stop them to begin with. So yeah, I mean, that's unsolicited. It's not like you had your lights on when you did that. He just did it on his own, which is
Took off on his
it's
own.
case law now. So.
Yeah. Isn't mere flight not enough?
As I mentioned earlier, the deputies...
Okay, so here's Josh's voice, and he's going to just kind of give us the lay of the land in the background. Why is the cop initially there, and then what happens after he gets there, and after he realizes, hey, there's no big deal, I'm going to leave.
there to investigate a fire. Now he's found the fire, which is a barbecue, and he's about to leave, until he sees someone he doesn't like, and that person is James.
This guy gets paid for this.
The deputy's 10-8. He's now cleared the call and he's able to return to the substation until...
Okay, so what he's going to say is he's cleared to go back to the substation, but he can't. He can't go back to the substation because he's got to harass and collect from somebody. He has to detain them. He has to use the power that he has to do something where if he didn't have that uniform badge and a gun at the authority of the state, he would never, ever dare to approach a man like this. Because when you approach other men like this who are willing to defend themselves, you can get yourself into a whole lot of trouble, officer.
What's up, my man? Come here. Come here. Oh, shit. Yeah, no, put the bike down. Put the bike down.
Why? It's my bike.
Because I told you to put the bike down.
Why are you stopping me right now?
Because you're riding your bike with no fucking light on.
I'm riding it. I got
Put the bike
I got
down.
A light right here.
Dude,
My
put the
light
bike
was right
down.
here. I said no.
Put the bike down,
Call your
James.
supervisor.
Turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
Call your
Turn
supervisor.
around. Put your hands behind your back.
Something interesting is James is on private property and he's not riding a bike, and the light that he had in his hand was on the bike. So he's stopping him for no freaking reason. He's harassing him for no freaking reason.
I'm gonna tase you, dude.
What if somebody decided to act on their Second Amendment rights at this point when this cop is coming up? Man, you are threatening me. You don't know if I have a heart condition. You're about to put taser probes inside of my body. There's no telling what'll happen. You know, people have died for this. They call this less lethal, but you know, for a lot of people, it is lethal. This could be this pointing a taser at somebody and deploying those probes into somebody's body could end their life right then. You don't know.
What have I
Get
done
on the
wrong?
ground, James.
What have I done wrong?
562 King. Get on the
What have I done
ground.
wrong? I've not done nothing wrong.
Get on the ground, James.
I've done nothing wrong. Am I being detained?
Get on the ground, James.
Detained. Am I being detained?
He's complying. He's on the ground. He's on his knees. His hands are up in the air. He's obviously not a threat to this cop.
Subject stop.
Am I being
425
detained?
Willow, white male.
Help!
Get on the ground, James. You are being detained, you idiot. Get on the ground.
I want you to imagine that James is your son, your brother, your father, someone close to you that you love and care for, because someone loves and cares for James. I want you to imagine them walking out of their house, committing no crime, and a police officer, with absolutely no reason approaching them, and then totally abusing and demeaning them.
Yeah, and it's an absolute disregard for the humanity of any other person's life but your own. You are acting as the king, you're acting like everybody else is your servant, and you're willing to use power that's supposedly been vested in you by the community to do harm to a community you're supposed to be protecting and serving. That's the punctuation point right here. That's the exclamation point behind all of these actions right here. And to say that it is not Gestapo-like, is, I think, to deny the truth. I don't see any difference between this and what the Gestapo does, other than with the Gestapo, they probably didn't have an option of less lethal force. They just pulled out their guns,
I'm a fucking tase you, dude. Get on the ground.
which American policing or police do every single day, hundreds of times a day.
Put the flashlight down.
Am I being detained?
Yes.
For what?
Put your hands behind your back.
For what?
Put your hands behind your
What am I
back.
being detained for?
Not listening.
Why am I
Drop
being
that
detained?
flashlight.
That's not an
Drop
articulable-
that
That's not an
flashlight.
articulable reason for suspicion that I committed a crime.
Yeah, it is. You
It
took
is
off.
not.
Yes, it
It
is.
is not.
Yeah, it is,
No, it is
James.
not.
We're going to listen to this cop fabricate potential crimes against this man so he can take him to an RAPE cage.
You
Call
still
your
out?
supervisor.
You still?
Call your supervisor.
I mean, I think we tend to watch these videos and it's like all we see is, you know, sometimes unless the body cam follows the ride to the jail and then the booking and then the other process, but we never see the drop your pants and bend over and I'm sticking this thing right here in your derriere part. We never see the jail cell that they go into and the corrupt individuals that may already be there. We never see the trash, chemical-laden food and the nasty water they feed you and the horrible living conditions. And did they take away your clothes and they leave it freezing in there? And now you're in there for 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever it is. We don't see that part. Like there's so much egregious activity going on here, and there's so many ramifications that Bubis Americanus just kind of hits a mental wall and they don't see beyond it. This is what is happening here is horrible. That a man feels like he has to submit to another man or else his life will be extinguished is absolutely ridiculous that it exists in the land of the free, home of the brave.
Relax.
No, I'm not relaxing. Call your supervisor. Harassment's gonna stop.
Shut up.
Call your supervisor. I want you to call your supervisor.
I am the supervisor, dip. Shut
First
up.
Amendment audit.
Yeah, try the Fifth
First
Amendment.
Amendment.
Shut
First
up.
Amendment audit. You have no reason to stop me right now.
Yeah.
None.
You're riding your bike with no
I
lights
had it
on.
Right there in my hand.
It's got to be on the
On the
bike,
bike.
dipshit.
It was on the bike. I just took it off.
No, I just watched you right away
You didn't
when I
ride-
rolled up.
You didn't tell me to stop.
He wasn't even riding. He did not watch him ride away because he wasn't riding. The light, every objection that the cop has, every crime or violation that he's trying to pin on him is absolutely non-existent. The cop is lying about everything. And ironically, he works for the Lyon County Sheriff's Department. It should be not, instead of Lyon, it should be Lyin, the Lion, because that would be appropriate.
Stop. There's no stop. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, I told you to stop
I
right
did
here.
nothing wrong. You have no crime I committed.
562 King.
None.
One detained. 29 on last
Call your
aggression. First and
supervisor.
James.
Call your supervisor. I want to see your supervisor right now.
Shut up!
I
Yeah.
want your supervisor.
You guys, I'm not going to say what Eric Farmer said in the room, but look what Eric Farmer said. And I don't disagree with that.
What'd you ditch over here?
I'd like your supervisor, sir.
Okay. Well, I think he's down at the jail.
I'd like your supervisor, sir. I need to speak to
You know what makes me mad? You know what makes me mad? Seeing an American laying on the ground like that. I mean, what would be different than a North Korean soldier making an American lay on the ground like that? What would be different from a communist party, communist China party member having an American, or a Russian coming in and making an American lay on the ground like that? This is unacceptable. Or a German soldier from back in the 1930s. What would make this different? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The actions are exactly the same. It's demeaning, it's dehumanizing, it's demoralizing.
I'd like your supervisor, sir. I need to speak to your supervisor now. This ain't happening.
Yeah.
I want
You still on court conditions, James?
I want you, no, I'm not. I
No?
don't have any court conditions. None.
Huh?
None. Zero. I've not committed a crime. You have no reason to stop me.
Yeah, I did. When I told you to stop.
I'd like to stop to your...
Yeah.
I stopped when you told
Yeah,
me.
arguing with me.
I'm gonna argue
And
with
I had to
you.
pull my taser
You have
out.
no reason to stop me.
Yes, I do.
None. What?
Yeah.
I've not committed a crime. No misdemeanor, no felony.
Yeah, James, it's called riding a bike without a
I
headlamp.
got a headlight right there.
It's not on the bike, James.
Your friend, hey, I'm not on a bike. I'm in a parking lot, private property. What are you doing here?
You got any dope on you, James?
No, I don't. Now what? I want your supervisor.
Stand up.
I want your
Stand
supervisor.
up.
I'm gonna stand up. Where's your supervisor?
Face away. Put your feet apart. You got any weapons on you?
Nope. Well, I don't know. Maybe something. I don't know. I doubt it though. No
Maybe
needles.
somewhat.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I got a lot in my pockets. Been working on cars all day.
You got a
Check
knife
it out.
on you?
Yeah. I know this. I'm being detained for no reason. I want to talk to your supervisor. I want to see your supervisor.
What supervisor, James? You
I
think
want
we're at your beck and call, you
I
dip?
want Yes.
No.
First Amendment
No.
audit right now.
Go.
Yeah. First Amendment audit. You have no reason to stop me right now. You're in
Yeah.
violation of my First Amendment right. And my Fifth. And my Fourth. And my Ninth.
Put your feet apart,
Yep.
James.
Yeah, sure.
Face the car.
Face the car. I want to see your supervisor.
I just told you,
No.
dumbass.
Private property. I'm right here in my house.
How many times has this cop called James a dumb ASS? How many times? I mean, on the scale of just professionalism, this guy absolutely gets an F. On the scale of totalitarianism, he gets an A+ because he's a great despot. On the scale of freedom, absolute zero. No, this guy, this cop is giving James no leeway, no freedom, no chance, and is actually grasping at non-existent straws to try to take him to jail on some trumped up charge. I don't care what it is. Now, this is unique, and this is why I really appreciate Josh from AFA going over this, is we're going to see a fellow law enforcement officer step in and try to convince this law enforcement officer that he's got nothing to go on and we shouldn't be taking this guy to jail. This is quite unique.
I live right there.
Yeah, hit that like button, guys. I appreciate you being here. 264 people here, 100. Thanks for the 100 likes. I really appreciate it. Let's see if we can get up to 200. When you hit the like, it really does mean a lot because it triggers an algorithm that shoots the video up and gives it a better chance to be on the recommended list. And especially if you like it and then you share it at the end when we get done with this. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you to all of you for being here and supporting this channel. None of us is greater than all of us.
At my house. At my house.
Good.
Last aggression versus James with the date of birth is 5.69, issuing 1074 suspended.
Yeah. I'm about to say hi to a friend and all that.
Tahlequah. What's your date of birth, James?
5 point. I don't have to answer the questions.
Yeah, you do.
I'm
Yeah.
not under arrest.
You are the subject of investigation, yeah.
For what?
For resisting right now.
What's my crime?
For resisting.
What's my
He absolutely did the opposite of resist. James, get on the ground. He gets on the ground. He's got his hands up. He lays down on the ground. He puts his hands behind his back. There's no resisting. This guy is just making this stuff up. Maybe he would be a good storyteller. Maybe he should write a fiction novel because that's all he's engaged in is fictional nonsense.
crime?
Yes, resisting.
I'm not resisting.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
Stop me for
I told you already.
resisting.
I already told.
Stop me. I don't have to answer the questions.
Yeah, you do.
don't have to.
Okay. You're going to jail.
I have to.
Yep, you're going to jail,
For
dude.
what?
What's that for arguing?
what?
I'm asking you.
Did you hear him? You're going to jail. For what? For arguing. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that law.
Basically,
Let's see. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to freedom of speech, freedom of press. You have no right to argue. You know that speech part, that exempts the right to argue. You don't have that. So if you start arguing, we got a law against that and we can take you to jail. What BS.
basic information.
My name's James Gresham. You know my name.
I asked you what your date of birth was.
I don't have to answer your questions. Then.
Yes, you do.
I guess I do, huh?
Yes.
Because I'm being detained,
Yes,
right?
yes.
5/20/69. And this is an illegal stop.
This
it's not.
sucks, man.
It is. Call your supervisor. I want to see your supervisor. sir.
James, you know how many times
you have no right to. I'm on
you know how
public
many
property.
times you've been in the fucking
Public property. I'm not
Okay.
big victim.
Apparently he knows James, and Josh from Accountability for All looked into it. It looks like James' last run-in with the law was back in 2016, but as far as the record shows, it doesn't look like he's got anything else on his record.
You're going, dude. I did about tase you. Is that your house?
It is.
Do you think that maybe if you just answer a couple quick questions, but when you're rolling up here and then coming back,
You told me
Like-
to come back, so I came back.
yeah, and then I'm fucking telling you to drop the bike, you're not dropping the bike,
my
and then you
bike.
push it,
I
you're
told you
trying
my
to
bike. And
tense
I had
up
my
on
bike
me.
in my hand. I didn't do nothing on you.
Yes, you did.
That's why you were stopping me.
Yes,
I
you
saw you
did.
pull up here. That's why I turned around to come back.
All right.
I knew you were going to come. How about that?
Yeah, because when I roll up for this fucking
It had
bonfire,
nothing to do with me.
you were there.
I was just talking to them, asking
Yeah.
them what's up with the bonfire.
Oh,
And they were
okay.
barbecuing.
Imagine that.
Did you stop and ask
What's-
about the fire?
I didn't. You took off. Look, where's
I
this
didn't
guy
have-
going?
I didn't have to stop for you. Just because you pull up don't mean I stop my life. I have
It
you have
does
no
when there's
reason
a
to
crime
stop
being
me.
committed.
No, I didn't commit a crime. I committed no crime. What was my articulate reason for
I already told
to
you.
come here to stop me?
I already told you.
There is no crime. I'd like to talk to your supervisor, sir.
We don't have.
Right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you.
Sammy says, arguing is a crime punishable by cops.
You can
You
want
want that.
one hand in the other.
My first name, my car, right now.
And I cannot even sit here and say that James had any semblance of contempt of cop. The cop told him to come over. He came over. Dropped to your knees. He dropped to your knees. Put his hands up. Laid down. Put his hands behind his back. You know, he's objecting the whole time. And it might not be going the way the officer wants it to go. And maybe the officer wants him to be guilty, but he's not. This is absolutely, in my opinion, one of the easiest going arrest victims.
That's right.
They have it on body camera.
First Amendment.
Yep.
He has no articulable, reasonable suspicion
freedom
to
of
stop me.
speech,
No, it's not. It should write this to stop me unreasonable.
The First Amendment.
Articulable, reasonable suspicion.
All right.
AR.
What's up, News Now Ninja? Yeah, who just said that? Somebody said, Kron says you need a dash cam on your bike now, I guess. Hey, that would not be a bad idea. And you know what I would suggest? I know it's a little pricey. The prices have come down from when they first came out, but some form of 360 camera. That way, if they put your bike down, it's still recording everywhere. There's not a piece of footage you're going to miss. So I would suggest anytime you have a camera rolling, make one of those cameras, and multiple cameras are a good idea, but make one of those cameras a 360 camera.
Yes.
Even if the lens breaks out on one side because you had to drop your bike because this guy's got a taser on you, he's about to end your life, the other camera is still going to be recording.
Tight, dude.
Sit tight. Shut up.
And then just make sure that you have it. We're going to watch the rest of this. And then just make sure you have some kind of digital code on it to where they can't erase your footage. Or be putting, uploading it to the cloud, then there's nothing they can do.
Said you live in apartment 18 years. Who's changing?
Okay, listen to this.
Not home. Not here.
You got a key to it?
Car's here. I don't have any keys at all.
Is the door unlocked? How are you going to get in?
I didn't know she wasn't home until I got here. Actually, I came here and I went over to Jeff's house, over to Mama T's house, because she wasn't here. Then when you pulled up, I decided to come back home. I don't have to answer these questions, but I will. I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't want no trouble, so I left. The fire wasn't mine.
All right. Well, when I'm rolling up and you're leaving, like,
Doesn't mean nothing.
sure it
I wasn't
does.
asked to stop.
What's that?
I wasn't asked to stop.
Because you fucking took off.
I wasn't asked to stop.
Yeah,
I did
that's why I
nothing
came
wrong.
over here and told you to
There's
stop.
no reason to stop me.
So the cop is actually admitting the reason I told you to come up to me is because when I arrived, you started leaving. And so now the cop is taking you started leaving as criminal activity, or else he wouldn't have stopped and he wouldn't have engaged with this guy. This is just convoluted thinking.
That's why I came over here and
There's
told you to stop.
no reason to stop me.
No legitimate reason, no legal reason, no moral reason.
What's your reason for stopping me?
Code 4.
What's your reason for coming over here? I'm on private property, man.
Yeah, well,
Why did you
unfortunately.
come here?
What's that?
What is your articulable, reasonable suspicion for
Just told
stopping
you,
me on
James.
private property, man?
Because
What? What's because?
flight from the cops.
A flight from who? wasn't stopped.
I know, because you didn't give me a chance.
What were
So I
you going to
went
stop me for?
see what's going on with this
That
fire.
has nothing to do with me.
Okay, how do I know that
Investigate
if
it.
you're leaving?
It's not my fire. It's not my house. I don't live there.
How do I know that when you
Well,
take off?
what I'm saying is this. What was your reason for stopping me? What was your reason for coming here?
Yeah, keep pressing.
That.
What?
Because you're trying to get away from me.
No, I didn't run from
Yeah.
nobody. I went home.
And now,
I don't need to see no
and
cops.
maybe it would be more plausible if you did live there, but now we can't. Now we can't even verify that you live there.
Well, why don't we call Sharon then, Val?
Okay.
Why don't we call Sharon, that person who lives there?
Does Sharon live there?
Yeah, she sure does.
So how are you
Phone
gonna
number?
how are you gonna get in there?
What do you mean?
How are you gonna
I
get in the
came
house?
home. Usually she's home at night. I don't have to answer these questions. I'm not doing nothing wrong.
All right, don't answer the questions. Then.
Listen,
I don't
listen,
care.
Carl. I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm on private property. You're harassing me. You're
I'm not
illegally
harassing you.
detaining me right now. I'd like to see a supervisor, sir.
That doesn't change how we go about this.
I've
Yeah.
had to study for my law for this bullshit that I've been going through, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Lucy in the comments says, can you imagine being proud of this job, being a law enforcement professional? They're proud of it, and they think they're such studs, so gross. What'd you do today, Daddy? I held a man who did absolutely nothing wrong against his will. I made him get down on the ground, completely humiliated him, put torture cuffs on him, and I wouldn't let him go until I wanted to let him go. Oh, really? Well, maybe then, Daddy, you won't mind if I treat my brother like that. Don't you think that kid would get the... Well, I don't know if he would or not, but in a good household, if a kid did that to another kid, well, there'd probably be some discipline involved in that, and rightly so. What'd you do today, Daddy? I tormented people who were less powerful than I was because I abused my authority that people entrusted me to use to protect them. That's what my job was. I lied to them. I deceived them. I tried to get them to talk so that I could use their words against them, little Johnny. That's what I did at work today. I didn't produce anything of any value for society. I completely sponged off of them because all I am is a welfare recipient getting the tax cattle money to do the things that I shouldn't be doing. And I'll get a raise for it and probably a plaque on the wall. Oh, good, Daddy. I'm so glad that you're a daddy. You're such a good role model. Such utter BS. It's like we live on the set of The Twilight Zone and Idiocracy all at the same time. And it's 24/7. We never leave.
A little bit more versed than you should.
And how's that working out for you?
Well, you know,
like,
it's been 3 years of my due process being violated. I've been convicted.
Yeah, who just said that? Les, overturned Terry v. Ohio, says, Daddy, can I be like you when I grow up? Well, how do you mean, son? Well, I want to violate people's rights too. I want to be in a position of power where I can abuse my authority and I can take advantage of people who are not as powerful as me, or take advantage of people who are more powerful than me, but they know they can't do anything about it because I'm the police. That's what I want to do, Daddy. Are you backing me now? Are you backing me? I really want to put those handcuffs on people tight, the innocent people. I want to trump up charges. I want to make things up like you did today, Daddy. That's what I want to do. I want to completely fabricate the whole thing. And I want society to know that this guy, who's not really a criminal, is a criminal because I say he is. That's what I want to do, Daddy. Brett Rhea just gifted 10 more Here's the Deal memberships. Brett, you're a rock star, man. Thank you very much.
I have nothing since I've been here.
It's because it's still going on.
Drawn
You
out.
believe that?
You get pissed off. You get pissed off, so you keep getting drawn out.
I
Yeah.
get pissed. What's that got to do with it?
You can't get
I'm
an
being
attorney-
charged for
you can't
nothing.
get an attorney
You know what my charges are,
to
sir?
work with you.
For 3 years, you know what my charges are? I had my sister's debit card.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the point where this other officer is talking to the arresting officer. At this point, I don't know what their names are yet, but I will definitely try to find out. YouTube keeps unsubscribing me from your channel 15 times, says Michael Duke. Put a 1 in the room if YouTube has unsubscribed from you from my channel even once. Guys, I can't even tell you how many times I hear that. And then, you know, some months the channel does good and there's a lot of subscribers that join. And some months it's like even, and some months it just absolutely falls to the floor. It's so dishonest. So dishonest. All right, so here's the interaction between the cop who just arrived and the original arresting officer.
So I think she does live there.
Yeah.
Because that's when Ronnie, when I came here, Gabrielson, he OD'd. She was the one living here. There's only a deadbolt, and I don't know if that's locked or not. I didn't like push on the door or anything because there's the normal doorknob's missing. Where was he at when was he hiding? Was he in the grass or on the paved portion?
He's on the paved portion, like right by that yellow tarp thing. Looked like he's walking up there. So I was like, hey, where are you going?
But how's he gonna get?
So he admits that James was on private property. Thank everybody for putting the ones in. That's just ridiculous that there's even one person who gets unsubscribed. It's like being a subscriber to, I don't know, it's like being a subscriber to, you know, Time Magazine or Sportsman Magazine or Fishing or Sports Illustrated or whatever, and the mailman going, yeah, I know you subscribe to it, but I'm going to throw it in the back of my mail truck. You don't need that subscription. And it's like, wait, I want that magazine in my mailbox. Who are you to say that I can't have it? It's like going to somebody's channel and saying, hey, I want to see this person's content, so I'm subscribing. I'm going to hit the bell notification icon, and them not even giving out the notifications, and then unsubscribing you. Thank you. So if you've been unsubscribed from my channel and you resubscribe, thank you, because I know that takes effort on your part. You got to remember, you know, because sometimes I won't see a channel for a long time, or somebody on Twitter. It's like, I know I'm following you and I haven't seen your post for a long time. So there's all this shadow banning going on, all this nonsense, all this algorithmic shenanigans going on behind the scenes. I hate censorship, guys. Yeah. BR549 says I hardly ever get a notification.
He doesn't want to answer that question.
It's amazing. It's amazing I have anybody in here with all this stuff going on.
If he knows she's not home, how would he go there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That
And
makes
unless
sense.
he's like in the fourth entry, and I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna check the door. So it's
Yeah.
pushing that. But yeah, it's hard to tell on that one.
Yeah.
It's hard to
At
tell.
first, I was like, yeah, you're riding a bike with no light.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, dude.
But I don't know
can't cut
about
through
if
here.
he's right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if just leaving when I roll up for like a illegal flyer.
Well, it's unsolicited flight,
Yeah.
and then we have to RS to stop him to begin
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's unsolicited. It's not like he had your lights on when he did that. He just did it on his own, which is
Took off on his
it's
own.
case law now. So
Yeah. Isn't mere flight not enough?
maybe like that one more thing.
I'd say it's mere flight. Plus, I knew Tammy Tolbert and Jeff Abbott.
Is mere flight not enough? You know what's interesting about the land of the free, home of the brave? If you see a cop coming, what would happen if you saw a cop coming and you just started running in the opposite direction? They have no RAS. They have no probable cause to run after you. Now, does it look kind of weird that you ran when a police officer arrived on the scene? Yeah, that's kind of weird, but it's not illegal to be weird. It's not anti-constitutional to be weird. Brett Rhea just dropped 5 more Here's the Deal memberships. Wow, thanks, Brett.
Do we? Yeah.
What do we do? What do we do? This is conspiracy against rights. This is why they penned 18 USC 241. This is conspiracy against rights. He's already deprived this James of his rights under color of fiction, not even law, not even under color of law. Now this is conspiracy against rights. So you got two or more people, in this case, 2 people conspiring against the freedoms of an innocent man. And you have it on body camera, 2 body cameras, and they don't care.
Drug users.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec. Quit interrupting, James. All right.
So yeah, I mean,
I'm inclined to take him with him about all this.
yeah.
So I'm inclined to take him anyway. Listen to this.
Yeah.
A bunch of other people too. Abbott's always there. He's always there.
Yeah. All right, James. You want a supervisor? There's one down at the jail. You're going to jail, dude.
For what?
Resisting.
Okay, I'm not.
Don't. What are you doing, dude?
I thought you-
Face the car.
okay,
I'm
fine.
putting your feet apart.
Go ahead.
Okay, so James, you're going to jail anyway because I say so. According to this body cam, they got nothing on James, but he's going to take away his rights anyway. This cop should not just be fired. This cop should just not have his pay just docked and all of his property liquidated and given to James. But this cop and the other cop who knows that this cop is violating his rights and abusing his authority, they should both go to jail. If you disagree with me, put a 2 in the room. But it shouldn't be a simple case of, oh, these cops just made a mistake. Yeah, he's pretty good on the force. He's been with us for 20 years. We're just going to write him up and give him paid administrative leave. Or let's fire him so he can go to another police department. This guy should be locked up. He had the public trust. He wadded it up. He put it under his feet and he stomped on it. So I don't think there should be any kind of wiggle room for this guy. Now, what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to put Josh from Accountability for All, including the cop that we just saw conspire against the rights of an innocent American. I'm going to put this is the link in the chat room. And also this link will be in the description. We got one more thing to look at, and that's James Freeman's last video. This right here is the Lyon County, Lyin apostrophe, the Lyon County Sheriff's Department that has this guy on the force when this guy should actually be in the Lyon County Sheriff's Office jail. I'm going to put those links in the description. Take a look at those. Give Josh a view. Give him a shout out. Tell him here's the deal sent you. And now we're going to look at this other unique video. Now, this was a unique video in that the cop on body camera absolutely had nothing on James. He knew he had nothing on James. The other cop came and confirmed that he had nothing on James, and he still took away James' rights anyway. He still committed a crime against James. Now, when I talked to Josh earlier this afternoon, he said that he called the Lyon County Sheriff's Office and said that what this sheriff or this deputy did was not in line with department policy. Now, I take that to mean if you're admitting, and of course, Josh recorded the phone call, if this deputy or whoever was on the line representing that sheriff's department admits that what this cop did was not in line with department policy, I don't see how any of these charges against James are going to stick, number one. Number two, the cop should be personally sued under 42-1983, and I'm talking about all of his assets, all of his personal assets should be liquidated and go to James, no matter what that is. Bonuses, whatever time has been accrued or accumulated, retirement IRA, retirement plan, whatever he has, house, car, everything. This cop should be left destitute, and the other cop should be, and all of their combined resources should go into James' bank account because of what they did for James. How many times do you think that would have to happen across the United States for this nonsense to utterly stop? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that if I violate an American's rights, it's that important that you're going to liquidate all my assets and give it to the person that I victimized? Yep, that's right. That's exactly what we're going to do. What about qualified immunity? That means I can't make any kind of mistakes. You know what? In the private security field or law enforcement or whatever, people are going to make mistakes. But we're talking about something like this that is malicious. And it's routine. It happens all the time. This isn't some rare occurrence, man. How many of these videos do we have to watch to realize, man, we got a serious problem? We have a systemic epidemic of tyranny going on. This is thin blue line tyranny. This is us versus you. This isn't us protecting you. This is us harassing you and extorting you. All right, so this next video, very unique. This comes from James Freeman. I was talking to him today. I was like, dude, I got to cover this video because this is so freaking unique. We have a law enforcement agent putting in writing that the reason they arrested this guy right here, cliffhanger, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Even if you've seen it, I want you to hang on. Listen to what this lady put in writing. You're not, I can't even believe that I'm surprised, but I'm surprised. Let's listen to this.
People should not be afraid to criticize the government.
What's your name?
They call me Benny Bustamadres.
5 reasons to be a state police officer in Nuevo Mexico. Number 1, so you can show off your shoulder patch at the library bar and grill.
All right, and we're here. We met you here at the Santa Fe court.
What I didn't get when I first watched this video is that this young guy right here is a TikTok like influencer, and he's the guy that we just saw right here in the uniform. And apparently he's at some dry cleaners, and I don't think the video made this very clear, but I read the story behind it. He's at some guy's dry cleaners, and a law enforcement agent for the state police, the New Mexico State Police, dropped off this uniform to be dry cleaned. And this TikTok influencer put this thing on, and then the face that you see here is some kind of filter on your phone, and he's acting like he's a police department guy. So let's watch that. That's the background right there.
What are you here for?
I'm here for wearing a state police uniform to make a TikTok video.
Number 2, so you can get free food at the All Subs Hale.
I heard.
That's a great filter, man. I don't know what filter. Does anybody know what generates a filter like that? That is hilarious.
You can get free food at the All Subs Hale.
I heard that they got you for impersonating a police officer. Did you beat your wife?
Number 3, so you could sneak in the burner phones to your homies at the MDC.
So that's what they said, is that they got, but it really is, what the charge is unauthorized wearing of a uniform, and they're calling it impersonating a police officer, which is not true.
Number 4, so you can turn your lapel camera on and off whenever you want. Number 5, free blues from the evidence room. Fuck yeah.
Does anybody know what blues are? I didn't know what it was until today. It's the DRUG that starts with an F. That's what blues are.
So as he said, they didn't actually charge him with impersonating a police officer. That would be wrong, and we see it regularly. People pretend to be cops and go out and pull people over or whatever. But that's not what he did. He simply put on a costume and did a skit in the privacy of a closed building.
If I put on a play tomorrow, and my play is about the state police, and they dress and look like state police officers, all of my actors could be charged. Does that sound like a statute you'd like it to exist in New Mexico?
But I called Amanda Richards with the New Mexico State Police, who's prosecuting him, to tell her that maybe she should upgrade the charges to impersonating a police officer rather than just wearing a costume. Hello?
And let me just start. Ain't nobody trolls like James Freeman, man.
Hello, is this Jim?
Yeah.
Hello, is this Jim? Hi, Jim. This is Officer Richards, Mexico State Police. Our dispatch center said that you were requesting a phone call.
Yeah. I've got some information on a case that I think you're working on.
Okay, what case would that be?
I don't know what the case number is, but it's the TikToker that was wearing the police uniform.
Mm-hmm.
You're still prosecuting that, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think you could probably hit him, not just with that, but possibly with impersonating a police officer as well. Would you like me to explain?
And who, I'm sorry, who are you, Jim?
It's Jim Johnson. My friends call me Grande. I work with government to try to suppress people's rights.
Listen here, Mr. Grande Johnson. You ain't nothing but a big prick.
And I noticed that in the video, he's talking about doing things such as sneaking burner phones into the jail and stealing evidence from the evidence room. And I think that that would probably cross the line of impersonating a police officer, as those are things that are documented that police officers do. I think you could hit him with the impersonating a police officer just for talking about doing things that cops do, such as sneaking burner phones in and stealing drugs from the evidence room. What do you think?
That's classic.
Okay, Jim, is this all you had to say, or is there anything else?
Well, I'm trying to
help.
help.
I'm no longer interested in pursuing this conversation.
Ma'am, I'm trying to help you stomp on people's rights. Are you just going to dismiss me? You don't need to be dismissive and rude. Alden isn't the only one in New Mexico to wear a police officer uniform while not being a police officer. He's just the only one to ever be charged for it. We've got this photograph of a child even wearing the uniform out in public, but the police failed to charge this child with a crime. So what was the difference between what Alden did and what the child did? The difference is that the child was trying to show respect for the uniform in the New Mexico State Police, and Alden was making a mockery of the state police. And speaking of people who dress up like cops, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. He's in it. Alden is a comedian with over 100,000 followers on his TikTok channel, Get the Stick. That's get.the.stick.
You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Simon Patron, I promise, Hoyo, that cuate wasn't even mine, your majesty. I was just holding it from my primos from Burke, bro. I put that.
And you may say, James, why would you assume that they chose to charge this guy based on the fact that they were offended, not necessarily the fact that he wore the uniform? And I would say to you...
Right here, here's where it says key fobs for Kia selling blues and Shiva, both terms for F and H.
Because the police officer articulated that in her report.
Listen to
Officer
this.
Amanda Richards, badge number 6665, stated in her report that she only contacted Alden to get the police uniform back and to let him know that his videos were offensive. She stated in her own report that she had no intention of charging him, just getting the uniform back and demanding that he take the offensive videos down. It was when he refused to take the videos down that triggered Officer Amanda Richards that Amanda decided to file charges. A quote from her report said...
Now, see this sentence right up here at the top? I explained to Alden. That's what James is going to put on the board. And this comes from the letter from Amanda Richards, complaint officer Amanda Richards. She's actually going to admit this and put it in writing. Talk about a numbskull.
I explained to Alden that the videos were upsetting, as New Mexico State police officers are prideful about our uniform. And none of the things said or portrayed in his videos align with the New Mexico State Police's policies or values. And so while the New Mexico...
So they got their feelings hurt, and they're going to press charges based on hurt feelings. Let me just read that again. It says right here, I'm going to read it straight from her letter. Says, I explained to Alden that the videos were upsetting as MSSP officers are prideful, not proud about, but prideful, which is kind of the opposite of being proud. Prideful is like pride to the extreme, which is not good. It's not seen as a net positive for anybody in society. They're prideful about our uniforms, and none of these things said or portrayed in his videos align with NMSP's policies or values. So they got butt hurt. They got their feelings hurt, and based on hurt feelings, they decided to charge this guy. Amazing that she put it in writing. It's one thing to say it, but to actually put it in writing is the cherry on the top of this tyrannical cake.
Back down and cite this child for wearing the same uniform. Alden is facing a misdemeanor charge, and as the officer stated, not so much for wearing the uniform as for making a mockery of her super serious government organization.
Y carnal! I've been over here throwing jale for the Juras. Give me like $50 and I'll get you Hito out of the bote. Fuck yeah.
They call me Benny Bustamadres. My real name is Alden.
So Alden, who goes by Benny Bustamadres on TikTok, showed up with his son, Benny Jr., to fight for his rights.
Fuck yeah, Hoyo. Tomorrow we're gonna fight for Benny's rights. Santa Fe Magistrate Courthouse. Tomorrow, March 4th, 10 a.m. Yeah.
Under the set of facts that the state has alleged, no crime has occurred, and they're seeking to punish someone for their free speech.
We spotted Benny with his son.
And here are the far-reaching ramifications of that. This is basically coming out against a comedian. So basically, they don't have probable cause that a crime has been committed. They have probable cause that comedy has been committed. They have probable cause that a harsh critique of a police department has been committed. This kind of harkens back to the Alien and Sedition Acts. You remember that? Before the turn of the century, the 1800s, while the ink was still drying on the Constitution, James Madison decided to imprison anybody who is critical against his administration. Here's the kicker. While Adams did not want anybody to be critical of his government, he said that it was A-okay for them to criticize his vice president, who happened to be Jefferson at the time. That's how hypocritical and psychopathic Adams was. And guys, Adams has a lot of great quotes out there, but he absolutely violated the First Amendment that they just got done penning into existence a couple years previous to that.
Riding on his shoulders outside of magistrate court, where he was appearing for his arraignment and also announcing that he will be suing the New Mexico State Police for retaliating against him for his free speech and his comedy. Because
that's what it is. It's a retaliation because somebody dared to exercise free speech, and within that free speech was being critical of the New Mexican State Police, and we didn't like that, and our egos are very damaged, they're very fragile, and we had to lash out. So we abused our power and our authority to charge you. Brett Rhea just gifted 5 more Here's the Deal memberships. Thank you, Brett.
They don't think
I will be reading after we get done with this, which is going to be in about 4 minutes. I will be reading the super chats and whatever came through on the wire over here.
Jokes are funny.
And so what are we going to have? We're going to have comedians and artists who are going to think twice about saying something negative about the government. And we need, especially right now, when we're seeing things in Albuquerque and other places where we see the need to critique and evaluate the practices of government. As a former prosecutor, I would imagine that they have other more important cases to prosecute. But if they insist on prosecuting a comedian for a joke they didn't like, then we are going to stand up for Mr. Hamdi's rights and for the rights of all artists and comedians in New Mexico. Because make no mistake, if officers are allowed to punish comedians for jokes they don't like, they will continue to do so.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what free speech is supposed to be about. That's what the First Amendment is supposed to be about. It's supposed to protect speech, not that you do like, not that makes you feel good and gives you warm fuzzies on the inside. It's supposed to protect you from speech that might offend you, might be disgusting even, might alarm you. That speech is protected. And there's no such thing as HATE speech. That's just a made up term. It's either free speech or it's not free speech. You can say whatever you want to about anybody, as derogatory as it possibly could be. And that is free speech. And that's supposed to be protected by the First Amendment. Actually, I just thought of something. I am going to talk about one more thing that kind of goes beyond the scope of Josh's video and James's video, but it's something I think you'll want to stick around for because it's pretty interesting. There's a dichotomy going around where, people are saying they're for free speech, but they're actually in the process of condemning and eradicating free speech in our country.
Have to ensure that this case goes.
And I'm talking about Democrat and Republican.
And the way we do that is we fight the case in the magistrate court. We fight the charges, but we additionally file civil rights action against the New Mexico State Police.
People are wondering again why they're
There should be civil rights action against the cops who are actually laying the charge against him.
taking the time to do something when there's a major crime going on.
There are real things to be investigating. We would be willing to take this as far as it would go because we're so confident that the statute of which Mr. Hamdi is being charged is not only unconstitutional, but unenforceable. If I put on a play tomorrow and my play is about the state police and they dress and look like state police officers, all of my actors could be charged. Does that sound like a statute you'd like it to exist in New Mexico? People should not be afraid to criticize the government. And that's what this does. It's a maximum 6 months in jail, which is one of the lowest crimes you can be charged with. But I would venture to say that anybody who went to jail for 6 months, their life would be drastically altered. I'm saying that the charge cannot exist under the Constitution. That it is overly broad, it is vague.
Some people are talking about this guy's hair. I think it's strategic to be able to do that because he's making it clear to anybody at that city council room or the judges or the lawyers or whoever that this guy is a comedian and none of his jokes are to be taken seriously. It's just operating under the freedom of speech. I think it's actually a classic strategic move to be able to wear a, I don't know what you call that. I don't know. It almost looks like the scarecrow haircut or something like that. But I think it's a good move.
It lends itself to this type of application that you can use it to enforce it upon people you don't like or jokes you don't like. I think I showed Mr. Hamdi this morning a picture of a small child in a New Mexico State Police uniform. Is he going to be charged with this crime? No, because they like that. And the government doesn't get to decide what kind of speech gets to be charged with crimes.
Amen.
That is the foundational principle of not only the federal Constitution, but the New Mexico Constitution, which has broader free speech protections.
I don't want any other comedian to be afraid to make videos like this. I don't want them to end up in the same position as me, so pretty much we're just here to talk about that and make sure that everyone else is free, has the freedom of speech and the freedom to create.
But to be honest, I can truly understand the frustrations that Officer Amanda Richards is probably feeling here. Benny simply put on the uniform and he's sitting here talking about using it to get free food, using it to sneak burner phones into the jail and to steal evidence from the evidence room, which is truly a gross misrepresentation of police. You can't just put on the clothes and get away with all this stuff. You had to first go through a 6-week training course. Links to Get the Stick, that's get.the.stick, are in the description and the pinned comments below. Make sure.
Let me go ahead and let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Get the Stick. Let me give you guys the link. This is this guy's link. Stay tuned. I want to show you something else. It's so funny when I go over stuff like this and I trash Republicans. People are like, "Oh, your buddy Joe Biden must be paying
woke
you off."
nonsense.
Let me show you this right here. You got to see this. Stay tuned. You got to see this. I don't have any love for anybody, both political parties. It's a dog and pony show. It's the tyranny show under the big top. Politics, like I said, is nothing more, nothing less than the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. So this is Sarah Sanders Huckabee, who's the governor of Arkansas. Listen to what she says, and I totally get the wokeism argument, and I totally understand why the right is against the left for this social justice, seemingly moral high ground woke nonsense. But the overcorrect on this from the GOP, from Team Red, from Team Elephant, from the Republicans is, oh, I know what we're going to do. We're going to curtail freedom of speech. We're going to eliminate speech and we're going to enact censorship against the First Amendment. Listen to this knee-jerk reaction, this tyrannical knee-jerk reaction.
Today, we're taking a stand against woke nonsense. What frankly started as a fad among a few grad students has seeped down into corporations, the healthcare industry, and increasingly state government. It's demeaning to women, and it needs to stop. In a moment, I'll sign an executive order banning a number of all sorts of ridiculous words.
Do you hear that? I'm going to sign an executive order. In other words, I'm going to use my executive power to leapfrog over and trample on, as I do it, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and I'm going to ban words. Anybody for that? Yeah, Brian, I'm Republican, and if you're Republican, I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat. I'm not political. I hate politics. Politics is death, and it serves the interests of the death cult called government. So I'm not any part of that kind of stuff. I want to be a third-party observer, and I want to have right thinking, and I want to have a clear head. I don't want to be immersed in the nonsense going on under the big top in the circus tent and the 3-ring circus they got going on. Did you hear what she said? I'm going to sign an executive order, and I'm going to, quote, ban a number of all sorts of ridiculous words. And granted, they are ridiculous. Birthing persons, that's just nonsense. Trying to recreate a new definition for what a man is and what a woman is. Yeah, it's nonsense. But do I want them banned? No. Why? Because I know it's wrong to ban words. I know if there's one thing we need more speech, not less speech. We need more reasonable human beings, keeping the unreasonable human beings out in the light, not suppressing them so they can go down in darkness and this all festers. And then one day the boomerang of censorship comes out and lops your head off and cuts your tongue off. You shouldn't care about what people say. You should come up with better ideas of your own and combat it on the field of logic and knowledge and reasonable and rationalism. You don't eliminate voices. You encourage more voices to speak up. You encourage more people to get educated about how dumb this whole thing is. But what they're doing, they're going to exact the tyranny blade on the vein of freedom. Listen to this. Listen to what she's saying again. I'm going to sign an executive order and I'm going to start banning frickin' words. You morons.
And it needs to stop.
You freedom of speech hating morons.
Stop.
And the Democrats want the same thing. The Democrats want the free speech of the Republicans to be cut off. And then the Republicans want the free speech of the Democrats to cut off. And then, so who does this work in favor of? The people who own both the Republicans and the Democrats, the psychopathic puppet masters behind the scenes who are orchestrating the entire show. And it starts with the ZIO for this show under the big top, don't you know?
In a moment, I'll sign an executive order banning a number of all sorts of ridiculous words from state government documents. Those include words like pregnant people, laboring person, birth giver, and several other nonsense terms that
They are nonsense terms. They are nonsense terms. But guess what? There's other nonsense terms like president, governor, congressman, senator. You know, those are nonsense terms. Should we start banning? Can we ban government, please? That's a nonsense term. It's a term without any meaning. It's a term without any morality. It means somebody has the right to rule somebody else against their will and in violation of their consent. I got plenty of words I'd like to ban, but I'm not going to do it. Why? Because I'm for freedom. And sometimes freedom is dangerous. And it's offensive and it's uncomfortable and it's distasteful and sometimes it's disgusting. But that's freedom, man. I'd rather have dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery any day, wouldn't you? I mean, where am I wrong here? Brian, you freaking libtard. What's going on with you, man? I'm going to unsubscribe from this channel. Okay, do you love freedom or not? Do you love freedom of speech or not? Let's just put it on the line.
have cropped up in recent years. Some on the left will accuse us of being nitpicky, that Arkansas should...
No, I'm not accusing you of being nitpicky. I'm accusing you of being tyrannical and despotic and anti-constitutional and an oath breaker. That's what I'm accusing you of. And I can objectively substantiate those assertions because accusation without substantiation is the height of ignorance. So let's bring the receipts.
Just lay down and accept the Cultural Revolution without complaint. I say it's the exact opposite. It's the left that decided that woman is a dirty word.
That's true.
It's the left that decided we needed to toss out basic biology and basic grammar along with it.
Yep, I agree.
I think they're just mad that conservatives are starting to fight back.
And how are we going to fight back? We're going to violate your will. We're going to ban words. We're going to have this is basically digital book burning right here. And not only that, they want to make it prosecutable. So they want to ban these words. It's kind of like what Biden wants to do and what Obama wanted to do and what Trump did when he banned the bump stocks. You ban these items, these objects that in and of themselves are absolutely not dangerous. But when you ban them, what does that automatically imply? Those banned items, if you possess them, now you are a criminal in the eyes of the state. So they want the use of these words to be prosecutable. In other words, if you use these words, birthing person, you switch, what woman means, then you, according to the executive order, get to go to jail or you get some kind of heavy duty fine. It's kind of like the same thing the Democrats tried to do in New York. They tried to exact a $250,000 fine on somebody who misused pronouns, even accidentally. They wanted to prosecute and they wanted to lay some kind of financial liability and burden on somebody who stepped outside of the lines. Well, that right there is hatred of free speech and free thought and the First Amendment. That's the Democrats doing it. Now the Republicans have the knee-jerk reaction. And why is this going on? Because it's the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. Oh, we got this woke crowd. Now we got the Republican anti-woke crowd. Well, what's the reaction? Well, we need to censor words. We need to criminalize people who use these words. We need to put them behind bars, for 6 months, a year. We need to fine them exorbitant fees because they use these words. We need to violate our oath. I will get to those. Thanks, Brett. I appreciate it. We will get to the super chats here in a second. Let's continue on with this because we ain't heard nothing yet. We're just warming up and we got like a minute and a half left on this. Listen.
And they better get ready, because we're just getting started.
I know. Okay, now here's South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem. as hot as people might think that she is, as much of a male as some people might think that he is. Listen to what Kristi Noem. Now, if you've ever heard Kristi Noem talk, and I think it's going to be apparent as you hear her talk. If you've never heard her talk, you're going to hear she's very articulate. She's well read. She can convey a message with crystal clear clarity, and she's a freaking tyrant. She's a Republican tyrant, just like we have Democrat tyrants. She is no different from a Beetlejuice Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago. She's no different than a Michael Bloomberg from New York. She's no different than them because she wants to bring tyranny to your house where you live, and she wants to ban you from doing certain things. In this case, it has to do with anti-Semitism.
South Dakota, you've got a bill. I think it's a new bill combating anti-Semitism or reaffirming old bills.
Mandatory says she's hot. Too bad she's a tyrant with this bill. She's a tyrant with a lot of things, but hot or not, hot tyranny is still tyranny, and it's ugly as sin to me.
Bills, could you just tell us a little bit about that because it's such an important issue?
Well, this is a bill that defines what anti-Semitism is, and it has examples that we put in statute that will be used as model legislation in every other state to make sure we're defining what a hate crime is.
Model legislation. Oh, crap. Oh, what did I just do? I just fast
Got a bill. South Dakota. I think it's a new.
Okay, we're going to play this over. Model legislation. We're going to make this something to where you can create a cookie form and then have a cookie cutter, and you can exponentiate this throughout other states. We want this spreading like wildfire because if you say something against a certain people group, we're going to define that as anti-Semitism, and we're going to prosecute you. That's what they're saying. They want to prosecute you for using words that you don't like. They don't like. And for conveying ideas that they find distasteful or hateful or anti-Semitic. Guys, a violation of the Constitution, a violation of freedom of speech is a violation of freedom of speech. I don't care what excuse that you make. I don't care what justification you use.
Bill combating anti-Semitism or reaffirming old bills. Could you just tell us a little bit about that because it's such an important issue?
Well, this is a bill that defines what anti-Semitism is, and it has examples that we put in statute that will be used as model legislation in every other state to make sure we're defining what a hate crime is and that we can prosecute those who engage in it. It really is the strongest language in this country to push.
And we can prosecute those who engage in it. Guess what, Johnny? Guess what, Felicia? If you start using these words and we created and we codified a law because we're the powers that shouldn't be, you go to jail. You get a fine. You get economically terrorized.
Back on some of what we've seen for hatred being spread across this country since the October 7th attacks. So I was devastated to see some folks in this country be uneducated and some maybe purposefully stand with pro-Hamas and attack our allies Israel and our brothers and sisters in the Jewish community. So this bill we signed into law today in the rotunda of our Capitol. We had hundreds and hundreds of people there. It was amazing to see the unity and the support. We have one of the smallest.
We had a lot of people show up. Obviously, we're doing the right thing. We had a bunch of TRANS people show up at the Oklahoma Capitol. They must have been, there 500 people show up. They must have been doing the right thing. Hey, look, the majority tells us we're always right? I mean, historically, the majority and the masses are rarely ever wrong, right? We had 100, but so many people showed up at the Rotunda in South Dakota in support of this bill. That if you say something that we don't like, that hurts our feelings, that we feel like is disgusting or going against our Jewish neighbors, man, we're going to get you. We're going to throw you into jail. Your life is finished.
Jewish communities in the entire country, but we dearly love them and stand with our allies.
A fricka-lickin' men, Red Pill Rants. I'm not going to repeat it. Just read it. Read what Red Pill Rants just said in the chat. A fricka-lickin' men.
And are proud to sign this bill that I believe many, many, many other states are going to use because it gives them strong language that we can win in court and prosecute those who engage in hate crimes.
Let me just give you the translation. We can prosecute and jail and take away 100% of the freedoms of people who say words, form words and sentences and ideas that we don't like. Way to go, free speech champion. It's Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, Republican governor of South Dakota. And this is the Republican governor, Sarah Sanders Huckabee of Arkansas. And it's no different, guys. Second verse, same as the first. It's not just Republican governors, it's Democrat governors. They don't care. They are beholden to one organization that starts with a Z. ZIO, you figure it out, ...
In a moment, I'll sign an executive.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah, you'll sign an executive order. So let me go back to this right here. I just want to remind everybody, in case you're late to the party here, this is a message from Long Island Audit that Dan from Erie County sent me, because Long Island Audit, Sean Reyes, said that it kept disappearing from my channel. But I just want to reiterate, this coming up Monday, March 11th, because, a lot of people want to see this, and Sean wants to talk, and I want to talk, and we're going to do this on a live stream, 8 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific. Auditing Erie County will be hosting a live conversation between myself and Sean Paul Reyes from Long Island Audits. The topic of discussion will be, or at least one of them will be, is the American Thin Blue Line policing cult the exact same thing? Or can it be, is it synonymous with the Gestapo of 1930s Germany? Not only in policies, but also in action. So that's what's going on right there. And if you want to find out what the springboard for the entire conversation is, I'm putting this link in the chat right there. And I'm putting this link in the chat right here. So that'll get you up to speed. I try to keep these succinct. That right there is 18 minutes long because I felt like it needed some little extra time. And this one right here is 9 minutes and 3 seconds. And the guy that you see on your screen right now, that is not Sergeant, but Captain George Raposo. Is it Raposo? Yeah. I think it's Raposo. Let's see. I don't want to yeah, Captain Raposo. And Captain Raposo has been giving these speeches all throughout at least New Jersey, telling people, hey, we need to respect auditors and we need to respect the First Amendment, when he works in an organization that doesn't respect other amendments like the Second Amendment, right to keep and bear arms, which shall not be infringed. So that's what we're going to be talking about right there. Guys, I appreciate you being with me. Let's go over some of the viewer activity here. Please show up. Please look at that. What is going on here? For all of you who are live stream extraordinaires, why do I go back to my viewer activity after I've opened it once and then they've disappeared? Let me see if I can get it in the chat. Brett dropped it. So I think Brett has been the most active here as far as buying memberships, channel memberships for everybody. And I think he's up to, 41 new members today. 41 people got memberships primarily because of Brett. If you bought a membership for somebody as well, or if you became a new member, let me know in the comment section. I don't want to pass you by, but Brett drops a $10 super chat and says, I don't like seeing wokeness notations on government forms. It should have never been added to the documents process. It was fine where it was. And, I don't know what government forms you're specifically. Oh, look, it just appeared. So Brandon Mitchell he's been a member for 9 months, and now it just populated my viewer activity when he dropped one. Interesting. Okay, so Brett Rhea, 10 memberships at 457, at 458, 10 more memberships, at 521, 10 more memberships, at 525, 4 minutes later, 5 memberships he bought for everybody, at 541, 5 memberships, and Selwinden became a new member. Brett dropped that $10 super chat, and Brandon Mitchell has been a member for 9 months. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. She's banning it for government documents. Very different. These are our government employees writing these words. That's what she is banning. Citizens can say what they want. Hello? Really? What? She is banning it from government documents? Who is? It's still a violation of free speech. It's still a violation of free speech. Attorney Shields' terms of service needs investigated, says Brandon Mitchell. Wait a second. Where did that show up? How did that show up? Why do I see it here? Oh, there it is. What do you mean, Brandon Mitchell? Attorney Shield, that's Sean Paul Reyes and Lackluster's thing, which I know nothing about. Terms of service needs investigated. Maybe somebody can do that. Keep on keeping on, says Seldwin, member for 4 months. Thank you, Seldwin. Selwinden. Jersey Bob says, really, I wrote a strong letter to my township accusing them of wrongdoing, and they shut my water off a year ago, so they do what they want if you stand up or I do not matter. They shut your water, like city water off? Can we see the strong letter, Jersey Bob? What the heck? I can't even... Somebody can actually shut off your water? Did you get a hold of the local news crew? I mean, what's their reason for shutting your water off? Abder just subscribed. Thank you, Abder. Here's the deal. You have rights, cops have duty, says here's the deal. Read the terms of service for the Attorney Shield, bro. Where do I find that? Where do I find that? Can we do it in another video? Because this is 1 minute and 15 and I meant to keep it under an hour, but I went over like I always do. I don't know. You know what I like to do? I don't like to talk about people negatively unless I can absolutely ironclad just read something. Okay. Actually, okay, put a 1 in the room. There's 363 people in here, 378 likes. Hit a like. Let's see if we can get up to 400. But do you want me to read, just for the record, do you want me to read what Sean wrote here? So maybe if you're driving, you can't read it right now and maybe you'll forget later. Do you want me to read what Sean Reyes said? And this isn't me coming out against Sean. I just want to read what he said. I want to read what he's articulating, what's residing in his heart. Let's see. Maybe I need, maybe on this right here, I need some further background of what exactly Sarah Sanders Huckabee is talking about. Whose words, what words are on documents? Because I don't think she was specific about that. Set down into the corporations. I got to look at that. Okay, so you want me to read it? All right. All right, let's go ahead and read this. I'm gonna expand it on the page. This is Sean Paul Reyes from Long Island Audit. Here's what he says. I have never, nor will I ever, excuse law enforcement for following unconstitutional orders. My track record speaks for itself. I was trying to make the point that the system itself is evil. Now, I agree with that. I agree. Gray Cloud says, random question. Has your neighbor ever switched addresses with you? Mine has. No. Did you ban trolls on your channel? No, I don't ban anybody on my channel, guys. I never, ever do the censorship thing. So he says that I was trying to make the point that the system itself is evil. I agree with that. I believe there's a systemic problem, but the system is being operated by human beings. So if the system is evil, then in my mind, and my thoughts are limited, so that's why none of us is greater than all of us, and I think we all rely on each other to look at things from different perspectives and add to the conversation so we can get a more fully orbed view of what's actually going on. The systems only exist because human beings are keeping the system going. So if we're going to say the system is evil, then the creators of the system and the propagators of the system and the supporters of the system are evil as well. Because if you have good people creating a system, then it seems like the system would be good. If more bad people are in control of the system and the system is bad, that's because evil people are in control, in my opinion. So we're talking about, it's easy to euphemistically say or anthropomorphize a system and create it into some kind of man, but it really is just a group of men who make up that system and who propel that system forward and bring it into being and enact it. We are never going to accomplish anything by sitting on our computers calling all law enforcement in America Gestapo. But what if it's true? And I agree. Like everybody has their own gift. And I'm not sitting here saying that all I could possibly do is ever sit behind this computer and I'm never going to be able to go out in the street where the rubber meets the road and and tackle this and grab the bull by the horns like other people do. Gray Clouds, thanks for being a member. Appreciate it. Welcome. But what I am saying is that if the American Thin Blue Line cult is acting like a Gestapo, if it's acting like a duck, waddling like a duck, eating like a duck, quacking like a duck, and you call it a duck, how can that not be a good thing? That's just the truth. Now, if people's feelings get hurt, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Brett just gifted 5 more Here's the Deal memberships. I'm not sorry. I don't apologize for that, guys. Why would you apologize for speaking a truth? Now, is there a way that you could speak a truth that could bring more people on board, make it more palatable, be more diplomatic? Yeah, of course. Of course. Like I said before, if there's a bumblebee or a wasp on your friend's forehead, I could take this coffee mug and just knock it right in, like this coffee mug doesn't have anything. Just crack him in the skull. And I guarantee you that wasp will not be on his forehead anymore, but the brain within that forehead might be damaged. So I will opt for like a piece of paper. Like there. Okay. Wasp gone. No permanent damage inflicted. So am I for diplomacy and doing things the right way? Yeah, of course. And we can take a look at this kind of stuff and we can have a conversation about it. But I don't think it's misguided. And I don't think it's untrue to say the Thin Blue Line cult who's killing people. And like we saw 2 examples of this today. They want to charge this guy for making a joke and wearing an article of clothing that looks like a clown costume uniform. They want to economically terrorize that guy. What's the difference between economic terrorism on that front and the Gestapo front? They want to charge James, the guy in the first video that AFA went over, Accountability for All, Josh over there, and they want to wreck his life and take him to an RAPE cage for absolutely doing nothing wrong. And they admit he didn't do anything wrong, but they take him to jail anyway. How is that? How is that action that comes out of the Lyon County Sheriff's Department, LYON, which should be LYIN apostrophe, the Lyon County Sheriff's Department, different from what Hitler's troops did? How is it different? I don't see the difference. And how can you get more dead than dead? And how can you get more tyrannical than death? Don't you think that if they were able to come back to life, that Eric Garner and Karen Garner is dead, and I'm convinced that she died because of the actions of Austin Hopp and Daria Jalali for the Loveland Police Department. Kelly Thomas is no longer with us. Daniel Shaver. So many people have been beaten and battered and wounded and left for dead and offed. If they were to come back to life, would they tell you, no, there's a difference between the death that was inflicted on me by the Thin Blue Line gang and the Gestapo. Death is death. Jail is jail. 100% freedom's lost is 100% freedom's lost. I don't care who did it. If their actions coincide with and line up with the exact same actions that happened in 1930s Germany or in Soviet Russia or in communist China or that are currently happening in North Korea and all over the world, then call a spade and don't back off from it. It is what it is. And if you happen to be the police officer out there like Captain George Raposo, and this hurts your feelings, I'm not sorry. You need to hear this. You need the smelling salts of reality and you need a full dose of truth. And for me to minimize it or dilute it is for me to be completely dishonest with my own character and my own heart and the truth itself. So I don't get what people aren't getting here. He said it's utterly disrespectful for those who live under the Gestapo to say that our law enforcement is equivalent. What if it's not? What if it's not? What if people who lived under the Gestapo actually saw that, yeah, sometimes the Gestapo had good days and they were nice guys and they helped little old ladies across the street and they helped me carry my groceries in and they didn't do anything bad to me that day. Thin Blue Line does the same thing. It's not 100% tyranny all the time or they'd be, okay, we don't need this organization. They're constantly breaking in. They're constantly stealing my money. They're constantly pulling me over and harassing me and impounding my car every single day. No, that's not going to wash. They got to do some good things every so often. Like this right here. Look, You know, people are constantly saying, oh, you don't ever put good stuff up there about what people are doing. Oh, man, don't tell me I don't have it up. I don't have it up. Oh, yeah, here it is. Look, you want to see something good? Watch this. Here, I'm gonna show you what a good police officer. I'm not a good police officer. I'm gonna show you a bad police officer who just happened to do good. Watch this. The name of this right here is Austin police officer who are known for being horrible, absolute tyrants. Help child choking on candy. Watch this.
Hey, Jason, lay him on this.
So anyway, I'm just gonna. Okay, so they got this kid. This kid's choking on a piece of candy. So watch this. After they get done taking care of this little medical thing that this kid was having, because he couldn't breathe and he has asthma according to his parents and all that. Watch this. Oh wait. I don't think you can see it. I think it's too expanded. It's too blown up. Let's see here. Okay.
Estaba viendo película.
Like this. Gave him a high five. Hey, that's good. Now everything's all good, right? Good. This equals good police officer, right? No, it doesn't. You don't think that the Gestapo did good things every now and then? When I say all cops are bad, I'm not saying everything that they ever do or will ever do is bad. I'm saying that they signed on the dotted line to uphold and protect and defend our rights, and they do the exact opposite. I don't know one and have never seen one that didn't violate their vital oath. Because in honoring your vital oath, you're actually honoring human life. In violating your oath, you're violating and ending and making more miserable human life. It's not hard. This isn't hard. I'm not a smart person. I'm not super intelligent. It just makes sense to me. Sean Paul Reyes from Long Island Audit says, my wife was a political prisoner in Venezuela. Guess who? How many political prisoners do you think are in American jails today, all over states, all over the nation? I can think of two right now. Eric Brandt and Jeffrey Winehouse, that's two, and Schaefer Cox, just right off the top of my head. Schaefer Cox is in a CMU in Terre Haute, Indiana. It's a communications management unit. It's reserved for the worst of the worst. He never committed a crime. He just exposed his government in Alaska for being PEDOs. And they retaliated against him. And they tried to wire an FBI agent to make him, talk about, offing police or whatever, which he never did. They never got anything on him. And yet he's been in jail for almost a decade now. Want another political prisoner? How about Ross Ulbricht? Never committed anything wrong. He just created a parallel economy called Silk Road. And they didn't like that. So the FBI converged against him. Now he's going to serve, this young man, I think he went in when he was 23, 24 years old, is going to serve 2 consecutive life sentences for having killed no one, for having stolen from no one, for having done nothing evil to a little kid. And yet you have PEDOs being released all the time. They don't get life behind bars, but Ross Ulbricht does. Because the judge didn't like what Eric Brandt said. Now he's rotting in a jail cell somewhere. So she may have been a political prisoner in Venezuela, but that doesn't mean there aren't political prisoners in America, the land of the free, home of the brave, right now in real time. So if it's bad in areas where there are political prisoners, i.e. Venezuela, then it's also bad in America when that happens, right? We have 2.1 to 2.4 million people incarcerated in American jails right now. We are considered by all nations as incarceration nation. And that exponentiated and just went through the roof in the 1970s when they passed the war on drugs, which is really a war on people. That's tyranny. That's Gestapo-like SS red swastika tyranny under the auspices of the thin blue line. And we're going to stamp out drug abuse and addiction. Like Delete Law says, we are living in Nixon's America. This is still, we have the drug war still. Oh, they decriminalized. No, not really. Not really. You can still go to jail for weed in many states. Sean says that his wife was arrested and thrown in jail for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. What are the videos that we play? Sean was arrested and put in jail for being in the wrong place at the wrong time for having done nothing wrong. She has experienced both countries, and she said, quote, "It's absolutely ridiculous to compare the two." Why? When we see it on a grand scale every single day. So this is why we're going to be talking. Okay, so Sean continues. Is there tyranny in our country? Of course. That's why I wake up every day doing my best to eradicate and expose it. We need to take action. I totally agree. Totally agree. No one is going to rise up against law enforcement physically. Let's be real. All right, let's say it's 17, and I get what he's saying here, okay? And nobody here on this channel, and nobody's advocating any kind of violent uprising or anything. Nobody's doing that, okay? But let's just go back in our little time machine to, I don't know, say 1774, 1775. And somebody goes, guys, nobody's going to rise up against the red coats physically. Let's get real. Nobody. I mean, you know, you had your little thing with the Tea Party. You hate the tax on tea. You can't stand the oppression of the redcoats and the British government and the king and all that kind of stuff. And you wrote out your basically 95 thesis in the form of the Declaration of Independence, and you expressed your grievances. But nobody is going to rise up against the redcoats. Let's be real. 1776 comes along. And all of a sudden, people are like, no, you know what? This warrants rising up against the redcoats. You cannot say that today, just like they couldn't say it in 1775. Because the exact opposite happened. They did rise against the redcoats. They did do it. It just so happens that modern day redcoats are hiding behind something called the thin blue line. And again, there's no avocation here of doing anything other than being peaceful. But we got to call a spade a spade. We got to hearken to reality. We got to smell the sniffing salts of that which is not that which we want to be. And we can't minimize our words. We cannot make truth moderate. It just doesn't work. Moderate truth is not truth. So some other solution in my mind is to hold our elected officials and the system itself accountable and get the unconstitutional laws repealed. Hold oath breakers accountable. But we have already tried that. We have shall not be infringed. We have Congress shall not abridge ... RAPPS, religion, assembly, petition, press, speech. We already have the Fifth Amendment, and they violate that all day long and try to coerce us out of it. We have the Fourth Amendment, right to be secure in our persons, houses, papers, and effects, and they're constantly flashbanging families for no reason, getting the wrong house. We already have these things in place. So what do? Repeal the laws that are trying to mask the Constitution? It's like it doesn't work. Many, many, many people have tried that very, very, very often, and it hasn't worked. We also need to focus breaking up government unions. I agree with that. They are all evil and don't care about the people or our rights, and they protect tyrants. Well, you know what that says to me? They are all evil and don't care about the people or our rights. They protect tyrants. You know what word rises in my mind when I see a sentence like that? Gestapo. SS. I mean, honestly, if anyone has any better ideas, I'm open to a discussion about it. I do believe something should be done. Do I have all the answers? I have some of the answers. I don't have all the answers. I know if you demonetize violence, if you demonetize the monopoly on violence, you're going to make some headway. If you completely take away, qualified immunity, Terry v. Ohio, whatever platform you want to argue on, if you take away that right there, and then you make a law, not for the people, but for the law enforcers, if you cross this line, we already have the laws on the books, 18 U.S.C. 242. If you deprive somebody of their rights under color of law, if we catch you conspiring against rights, we are going to take that very, very, very seriously. And we're going to hold rights up here and we're going to hold you down here. And not only will you lose all of your property if you cross that line, you may go to jail for the rest of your life. You may, according to the prescription of 18 U.S.C. 242, get that. Brett Rhea, $10 super chat. I think the police body cam footage should be logbook for play 1-to-1 ratio. I don't know what that means, but they should never, ever be able to turn off but it should be it should be a crime to turn off your body camera during the course of your 8 or 10 or 12-hour shift or whatever. It should be a crime if you ever mute that criminal action. And whoever you turned it off to, whatever thin blue line member you tried to turn it off to protect, the victim in that locale right there gets the money from your bank account, Mr. Cop. There you go. How about that? What do you think the chances of governors and congressmen and senators wanting to take away their liability shield, their liability-free shield? Basically, the cops' badges are a get-out-of-jail-free card no matter where they go. Under Terry v. Ohio, Pennsylvania versus Mims, qualified immunity, you name it. No one's going to rise up. Let's see. So some other solutions in my mind is to hold our elected officials accountable. If anyone has any better ideas, I'm open to discussion on it. I think it's self-serving to just fuel hate for law enforcement without offering up any sort of solution. I agree. We should point out the problem, offer a solution, and then enact the solutions that are common sense. I agree. I agree with that, Sean. Captain Raposo teaches First Amendment rights to show respect to we the people to different governments for free on his own time. If you want to bring him down, that's your right. I just respectfully disagree that will solve anything. How is bringing Captain Raposo down when I just point out the fact that the department that he works for is a thin blue line thug organization that will criminalize you if you have a personal protection device in the state of New Jersey? How is that bringing him down? His police department is decidedly anti-Second Amendment, which means anti-self-defense, which means anti-human life, which means Gestapo, which means NAZISS. How is that bringing him down? That's just conveying a truth. When I see somebody say, if you just want to bring him down, it's like criticism without warrant is bringing somebody down. But what if it's warranted? What if it's absolutely 100% verifiably, objectively true? How is that bringing somebody down? That's just calling what it is. Why are you bringing Scott Peterson down? It's like, I'm not bringing Scott Peterson down. I'm telling you, here's the evidence to show you what he did to Lacey. Well, you're constantly bringing Hitler down. No, I'm not bringing Hitler down. I'm telling you what he did in his steps to bring on the Reichstag fire decree so he could trash his constitution. It's not bringing Hitler down. It's just bringing the truth out into the open. And if you stand condemned to the truth, then it's the truth that's demolishing you, not me. So I don't get that mentality right there. And that's what we're going to talk about on Monday, March 11th at 7 p.m. Central. Again, if anyone would like to talk about any solution, I'm open for discussion, and I appreciate that. But comparing all law enforcement in our country to NAZISs and Gestapo is disrespectful for those who live under them. You know what? I disagree, and everybody who's been maimed and murdered and pilfered from and lied about will absolutely disagree with you too. And I don't know why Sean, who's been the brunt of the New York Gestapo, doesn't see this the same way. It's a head scratcher. I'm just sitting here going, okay, what am I missing? Okay, I'm absolutely not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm a little microplankton guppy in the ocean, and the Long Island audits and all the other guys are way bigger than I. It's not, no comparison, on completely different planes. I'm down here and they're way up here. But this doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense how somebody could actually be the object of the disrespect of the thin blue line Gestapo and be saying these words. I don't get it. Saying all cops are bad is your right, and I fight for that right every day. I just think this was a waste of live stream. It accomplished nothing. When truth goes out, I view truth as a seed. I wish I had seeds. you know, like heirloom, nice little heirloom seeds, non-GMO, non-Monsanto seeds. But let's say you took a seed. The truth is a seed. And sometimes, I don't know if you've ever grown a garden, but you just broadcast the seeds indiscriminately, or you plant them in a hole and you cover them up and then you go on to the next hole and all that. Some of those seeds, a big percentage of those seeds don't grow. That doesn't mean you didn't put a seed in the ground. That doesn't mean you didn't affect positive change. So Sean's opinion is that my video, my live stream, this one right here, is that the live stream? Or this one? Oh, this live stream right here was a waste of time. Well, I would agree if what I said wasn't true, but I don't think it's untrue. I don't think it's a lie. And therefore, if it is true and it's not a lie and it actually exposes lies and it tears down euphemisms and it calls spades, then I don't see how that's equals accomplishing nothing, because truth may not look like it germinated today, and it may not germinate tomorrow, and it may not even germinate in the next 2 weeks. But you know, sometimes you look back and you're like, oh my God, that's a tomato that's growing, and I I didn't think it was going to grow. That's a silver maple that I grew in my backyard, and now look, it's like 10 feet tall, and I didn't realize, I just saw no indication that was going to do anything. That's like what truth is. You're just all we are is farmers. We're farmers, and we're broadcasting our seeds, the seeds of truth. You're just speaking the truth, living the truth, loving the truth, embracing the truth, exposing lies, opening up that dirt, tilling that soil, dropping the seeds in, and you're just waiting to see what'll happen. That is never a waste of time, ever. Drought conditions could come. The sun could be so hot and there's no water, and some of those seeds they wither, the things that sprouted up, they wither and die. Birds can come and they start picking the seeds out. But then there are some of those seeds, they germinate and they create a yield that far surpasses the initial seed that was planted in the ground. That's the beauty about truth. And the thing is about truth, when you embrace it, when you digest it, when you internalize it, when you broadcast it, you can sleep really good at night, because at the end of the day, your motive was to get out the truth. Maybe I didn't do it perfectly. Maybe I came across as a little brash and a little rough, and I'll try to hone off those edges and be a little bit more diplomatic and add a little bit more sugar as needed, But I spoke the truth, man. And I'm not backing off, and I'm not apologizing for it. I mean, if it looks like the Gestapo and it acts like the Gestapo and it conducts no-knock raids as a Gestapo and throws the flashbangs and then tortures you with electrocution on roadside and interferes with your right to travel like Gestapo and says, give me your papers like Gestapo, then guess what? It's Gestapo. I don't care if it speaks English or German or, has a Nazi flag or the thin blue line flag. Doesn't matter to me. The actions fit the description. Why not debate solutions on how to eradicate tyranny from our country? I'm down with that. I'm open for discussion on the topic, as I feel that would be more productive in my opinion. I agree with that. I agree with you, Brian, on mostly all of your views. My concern is what we don't agree on. Now, if we agree on like 97%, my concern is what's the 3% that we need to get into the ring over. And I'm not talking about just fighting and debating. I'm just talking about, okay, let's understand each other, because there's probably some stuff that I'm not understanding here. I'm not quite grasping this thing. I appreciate you using your platform to expose tyrants, and I will continue to do the same. Peace, brother. And I say peace to you. I think we should all be united, but it's got to be on the truth. It's got to be on undiluted truth, not, pansy ass, and I'm not saying Sean's involved in this. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things I disagree with on what this guy said. Namely, the very end of his seminar, his good sounding seminar was, hey, oh, by the way, everything I just said, I'm going to unsay it by saying you're securing your person. You don't have to give up your personal ID unless it has to do with New Jersey traffic law. Well, that is evil. That is frickin' evil. So I need to be insecure in my person in violation of the Constitution because you say I have to under traffic law? No, ain't gonna do it. That's tyranny. Okay. Looking to becoming a state national, get out from the matrix, says DJ Smith. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I got to learn. A lot of stuff. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? I think the police. Okay, Brett Rea gifted 5 more. Okay, I think we're caught up. Gray Clouds became a member. Thank you. Guys, thank you for being a member. Don't forget to hit the like. Maybe we can get up to 500 likes. I appreciate you guys hanging around for as long as you have. Thank you very much. If you want, oh yeah, there's something up through the 12th. Up through the 12th. Let me get rid of this, that, this. What is that right there? Okay, that goes. Okay, up through the 12th, all the shirts are 20% off. Let me get through this right here. By the way, that protecting and serving, we've changed that because Spreadshirt took this down. They rejected the design because it violated community standards or whatever. So we've remodeled this into just being a police officer, the Billy Club with the evil look on his face, a tyrannical look on his face. So we got tons of new designs. I'm going to have 3 more brand new original designs in the store. If you want to grab a shirt, or anything in the store, it's 20% off. The code is there a code? I don't think there's a code. Let me see here. What is the... Here, let me just get you the link. Here's the link right here. It's 20% off with this. It does help to support the channel, and you do get a message that does oftentimes start a pretty good conversation. The one I'm wearing right now, this one right here, do you believe in magic? NASA and Disney, they got that for a copyright, even though, you know, it's all original. They got that for a copyright. Just a bunch of buffoons over there. So did I even drop that in the chat? There's the shirt link right there. So if you want to support the channel, become a member, grab a shirt or hat or mug or whatever. I've got these cool Tyranny ones that are going to be coming in next week. You'll want to take a look at that design. Tyranny. You're soaking in it. Leave your thoughts about this for the world, the global thought police, in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. That way, if anything happens, we got a direct link. I never spam anybody. As a matter of fact, it's been like a month and a half since I sent my last email. But guys, I appreciate you. Remember, March 11th on Auditing Erie County's channel, we will be having a discussion, me and Long Island Audit and Auditing Erie County. It's going to be interesting. I'll put all that stuff in my community post, and I'll make sure that everything that we talked about today is in the description and hopefully in the pinned comment. I will see you guys in the next live stream. Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for love and freedom. Remember, it has a price. That's eternal vigilance, and indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. Let's stop our own oppression, and let's start today. See you in the next one.